I figure I better get this in before I lose all this morning. I love you all. Have a happy day. Love your children. Be good to yourself. All that good stuff, right? Okay, so I'll start with a happy face. Okay, because the energies are up. The sun is coming up. It's a new day. So thank you, Mama, for all your beautiful energy that I get to experience. Thank you all for all the light workers and light warriors that are here to raise the frequencies, which is to expand the consciousness, which is to expand the light, which is to spin more data in a bigger vortex. Okay, some of the things that I was thinking about this morning, because I sort of take a look at what the news is and what's happening, what's currently in the light. It is in the mind of what people are experiencing, and how many units of consciousness are experiencing pretty much the same experiences based on the data, which is based on what's held in the light, which is what people are aware of. So there's a lot of people that are aware of the following because they're becoming more aware of the following. So I thought these are like big subjects in and of themselves, but I wanted to address them because they're being addressed in the lexicon of the minds of the people that are now aware of them, that they got to process this stuff. So I thought the subject, or the title, if you will, is Nature, Sexual Perversion of Nature, okay? And particularly when it comes to sex, male-female relationships, etc., etc. What it means to be a pedophile, what it means to be a molester, okay? And so we can take like one subject. If I talk about what a pedophile is, you could write a series of books on that, which is a lot of data, which is a lot of information. So how can I sort of connect the dots of all the information that is present, that is in all those books, which is in the morphogenetic field structure, of the information that all I got to do is say a few paragraphs, bang, all the other information is now, you're aware of it. So that I don't have to, if you will, explain it all, describe it all, in order for you to realize what I perceive that is held in all that light, which represents the volumes of all that information, that it sort of snaps in place and goes, oh, I get it, I'm aware of all that information. I see what you're talking about because of all the information that you're aware of, that you're holding in memory, okay, even though I operate normally on no memory. Okay, that's why things just come and go so fast. So I thought, because of its relevance, because of this period of time, of what people are becoming more aware of, I would address it. Okay, so what I do is I go back to my childhood, what I experienced when I was a child, and what I call a frame of reference. Okay, so when we think of nature and sexual reproduction, think about this. Population control, cultural population control, human population control, or in this case, Homo sapien control. Okay? So, for example, let's say I'm a slave race, like the Anunnaki, and I don't want you, your particular race on this planet, because I'm running your political system, to just start reproducing like rabbits. You know, particularly if you're going to be running a lot of high energy, I could lose control of you. So I got to manage your population, which means I'm going to manage your energy. You get it? Okay? Because nature has sort of a natural order of things, doesn't it? So this is why Indians are first law nations, which is love is the law. So when you are what love is in living spirit, we do no harm. Because we're going to know that ahead of time. Because you got a built-in looking glass between past, present, and future events. Every single experience that we have in our own looking glass represents an event. An event. The event that I'm experiencing right now is what I'm saying right now. That's a frame of reference. I am now referencing what it is that I know, which is gnosis, which is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge about nature, how nature works. Okay? So if you want to get into function and what an argument is, what is an argument? An argument is a conflict, okay, between different sides or different beings that are perceiving the universe in different ways. And that's your free will to do that. Okay? That's actually the beautiful diversification of the cosmos. I don't want to keep experiencing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again like a drill press. It is the greater difference in what's possible to experience with infinite imagination. That when you realize how much imagination that you have to experience who you are, like an artist, a musician, a candlestick maker. Remember that little nursery rhyme? Okay, so I can't get carried away here. I'll run out of time and memory on this stupid cell phone. Okay, remember that? I think that was at the North Carolina rally with President Trump, a protest against stupidity. Well, define your term. What is stupidity? That's going to mean different things to different people based on what? Their frame of reference. So when we get into arguments in computer language that is symbolic of communication, an argument means there's a conflict. Or, if you will, one being is perceiving what they're experiencing in a given moment that is not the same as somebody else's. So when you look at all of the arguments, which means I have a position or a perception, or I have a position on a particular, say, political stance, or a belief system that I operate on. And that's really what it is. It's a belief system. It's what people believe is true. So I'm going to argue against you because you don't agree with the way that I believe what I believe based on what I know to be true. So what you know to be true, which is who you are, is based on what you believe. So if you get in an argument with somebody, it's because there's a conflict in what? The belief system. What you believe is true. Based on what? All your experiences. Your experiences are the teachers of what you're experiencing. So this is why, as a child, I realized that they're all measurements. We measure the universe we're experiencing as we go through the cosmos, through those experiences. So this morning, for example, when I was at the bus station, I was thinking to myself, because I'm always thinking about being with her, because I'm always talking to her. Okay? I don't have a girl sitting next to me that I can speak to, or a small child that I can speak to. So I'm always with her, so I'm always speaking to her. Okay? So we have a communication relationship, just like I have a communication with everything in the cosmos, believe it or not. Because my heart is fully open, it's a powerful vortex, and it runs hot all the time. Okay? So we're always having to burn off all the lower stuff in order for us to experience who we are, which is what love is in living spirit. So this morning I was thinking about clarity. Clarity. Everything is crystal clear. Which is like, imagine from the beginning that the communications you have with every other unit of self-awareness, because the energy that you're using to communicate with each other through your neurotransmitters is crystal clear. There's no resistance. Zero resistance. When we are trying to hold somebody else's mind captive to what it is we believe, or we're trying to control something, that creates resistance in my energy field. Okay, in my circuits. That's why we don't hold energy captive. We don't try and control or hold another being's energy captive. That's why free will is universal. Okay, that's why I have to let you go. I can't be attached to you. I can't try and hold your energy captive, or it slows me down. That means you're baggage. That means I'm heavier density. I don't like density. I don't like to hold on to nothing, which is crystal, pure energy, pure consciousness, pure love, pure spirit, pure fire. Because it runs that hot. That's how hot the light runs. So I wanted to cover in this is not an argument, this is simply how I perceive what it is I learned. And I learned it through nature, the natural order of things. So for example, when you're a female, okay, what is the function of a female? Now we're back to functions. Reproductive, she's a birth giver, isn't she? Okay, so when a male seed is providing what a seed is, that's data. That's a data transfer. Okay, so in other words, if you go into that particular male seed and you go into the chromosomes of that male, okay, all of that is data. So the male is presenting its data into the female mitochondria. Now the female mitochondria has that data. Now the ultimate avatar, if you will, in this case as an example, so when a soul comes through the chakra, comes into that particular avatar, the avatar that soul is going to be in is based on what? Data. All the data that's held in the chromosomes that is in the female mitochondria, that laboratory is going to build an assembly, a DNA assembly, another biotech, another communication platform. So now the soul that is coming into the heart in the female, the womb of the female, what comes out, the avatar that soul is in, is going to be based on data. The data held in the female mitochondria that is producing the avatar for the soul to come out and use as a communication platform. So if you are pure spirit and you are running pure energy and you know the data that is held in your seed, then you already know who to reproduce with, don't you? Because what are you trying to reproduce? More light in the cosmos, and the electric wars, and Star Wars. So we all live in peace, harmony, and balance. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to do what? End the arguments, the conflict, living in peace, living in harmony, living in balance. So when we look at nature, and when I was a child growing up, it was called the birds and the bees. And my parents, when I was growing up in the 1950s, it was sort of understood that we learn about the birds and the bees not through a public education system. There isn't anywhere in the United States Constitution that says that it's the responsibility of somebody else to teach you how reproduction works. Nature has a way of letting you know, by the way, what that is. Okay? Which means you don't need somebody else to tell you how reproduction works. What it means to have sexual, powerful energy to want to reproduce. It's already within you. That information, that data is already within you. Okay? So a girl knows exactly when she's ready to reproduce. Her menstrual cycle begins. Nature is informing her, you're ready. Wow, really? Yeah. Go back and look at history in America when the settlers were settling across the Ohio River. Okay? Go look at their age. Go look at the age in which males and females were getting married, building a log cabin, growing a garden, and raising a family. Okay? That was a completely different generation of Americans, wasn't it? What is it that they knew that we don't know? Okay? That's called population control. They want to make sure that they get the best use out of what you are before you decide you want to start reproducing, which means they're defining for you, instead of the way in which nature works, okay, how and when you're going to reproduce. And hey, if you decide to be sexually promiscuous, hey, we got an answer for that. All you got to do is kill the fetus, and we'll take care of that for you, because we can use that information. And that's exactly what they do. Everything that they do here is exploitation. Okay? It's a perversion of nature. They don't want you to experience the natural order of things in nature. They pervert it. Okay? So when you think of molestation and pedophiles, for example, okay, when you are running a love frequency and you are in love and service to others and you do no harm, then you already know how to behave. That's what first law is, which is love is the law. Okay? So you allow nature itself to be the information field that you operate off of. So on this planet, that's her. Okay? So I know, for example, I'm in her creation. Okay? She gave me a big heart. That allows me not only magnetic shield protection against parasites and vampires and demons, okay, but allows me to feel high frequency energy through her that I just love to bask in and bathe in. Okay, because that's exactly what it is. So I'm always wanting to be with all her higher stuff, which is like near active living magma, right? So when we go through different particular areas, we're experiencing the different frequencies and the different energies that exist that are communicating to us. We have to sort that out. So there's always going to be a measuring stick, which is value driven. Anything that is less than what love is less than what we are. So what are we going to do with that information? That depends on the value. Now, if we know because we have a looking glass, it might be helpful to hold on to that information because we might need it when? In the future. Okay? Now, this isn't information that I would normally want to hang on to, but we understand the relevance or the value that it's going to have in the future to do what? Explain the underlying causality so that we can help navigate others through all this bullshit. Okay? That's why it's ridiculous, at least in my view. For example, when you get on all the YouTube channels and Facebooks and you get into all these different groups and everybody's interacting with each other, and here's a comment, here's a comment, here's a comment, post a heart, okay? And to be perfectly honest with you, the way that it was set up with an artificial intelligence is all conflict driven, okay? There's no way that I can sit down with you in real time in Facebook and look into your eyes. Your eyes actually are one of the best translators to tell us what's going on with your soul, whether you even have one. Okay? Which means the nature of your energy. Because you can see, look in the pupils, how much yellow is there. Which is not a good sign. So how do you clear it? Alkaline. Higher pH. Clear the junk. Get rid of the toxic waste, all the contamination. Purity, right? So, for example, the first time I ever made love to a girl, actually it's impossible for me to have any kind of a sexual relationship with a female unless she's running a particular energy profile, right? Because you sort of already intuitively know how this works, which means you're operating on information you don't have to think about. You just know it, right? So I'm not going to reproduce with another girl that I don't already know, basically her female mitochondria index, okay, which is all the data she's running. And actually, for us, that's pretty easy to be able to do. So we just don't reproduce with anything, okay, because we understand the nature of the war that we're in. Frequency wars, genetic wars, right, energy wars, and on and on and on and on and on, which result in conflict between different genetics, okay, and this gets back to a whole other argument between the first and the last one. Creation, okay? And how you end up with a big zoo here, right? God knows how many races are here at any one given time. But when an Indian is on this planet, because this is our home world, we're reading the different energy profiles of the being that is in the holographic projection. Okay? You can't hide from us. It's impossible, because we can read your energy. And so that's what it becomes, a translator. So that's how we navigate. Okay, through all the different places. So it's a lot easier to say, bye, I'm going to grab a backpack and a tent. I'm going to be with her. And if I don't see anybody for the next 6 months, good. Okay, because you understand when you go into a civilization or into a city or town, you have to be willing to accept you're going to experience lower frequency density beings. Okay, as a result of what happened here. Okay, so when we're talking about all the pedophiles and all the protest against stupidity, and all this is going on is that, and I probably do a separate video on when we get into Jesus Christ and who he is and God the Father and all that. And again, this is what sort of, if you will, upsets me, because it's like you're avoiding the obvious. Okay, like the girl in the planet, Mother Earth. Okay? She's giving you away energy every single second of every single day. So is the sun. You know, put that through the hopper. Spin that through your light, the vortex of your heart, to provide some underlying context. So when you're always thinking of God, that's always through the male. Okay? Capture the female. It's always all about the male. Okay? Even though the child comes out of the womb of a birth giver. Life begins with her. So sort that out. How do you work that into the equation? See? So for me, because I was raised in a Christian family, if you will, and went to church and all that stuff, and I thought, okay, well, Jesus is just another guy. He's just another unit of self-awareness in the cosmos. What did he do with his energy for his life? Hey, he has a nice story to tell. He did some great things. I know beings that I could tell stories about that were giving away energy every single second of every single day. Go look at the sun. What do you think the sun's doing? Compare the sun against what Jesus did. Okay? You got to put some context in how you perceive and translate all the information that's provided, not just in the Bible, but every book you've ever read, every experience you've ever had. How do you sort through that as frames of reference? As the knowledge you want to hang on to because you know it's true. How do you know it's true? Because you want to believe it. What do you want to believe? What I know to be true. The one thing I know that's always true is what love is, because that's eternal. So when you know that and you are what that is, you got all the power in the cosmos. Because you are what that is. Now you can manifest. Now you can create. Your imagination is infinite. You're off and running. So anytime that you have a conflict or an argument, it's based on a belief system. Okay? So I don't believe in the same things they do. Okay? Because I know better. How do I know better? Experience. The experience taught me that. So when I was a child and I realized the relationship I have with a girl on the planet in spirit, okay, I have to put that into the hopper as the truth. So when I read the Bible, for example, the New Testament, okay, versus the Old Testament's all fear-based shit. Okay? Who wants to hang out with a fear-based God? Okay, that's not what love is. The universe didn't start with fear. You gotta believe what I gotta believe, otherwise you're going to hell. I would never tell a child that. See, they don't explain the underlying physics of how light works to explain how the universe works. There is an evolution. There is a cosmic order in place, which is called nature, the natural order of things, which is why love is the first law. Let there be light. End of story. Let there be love. It starts with love. Life unfolds with love. When a soul comes in to the heart chakra in a female, the first sound vibration that soul experiences comes from who? A girl. Jesus. You know, it's I call it inverted programming. Now, it's not that a god and a goddess can't love each other equally well with all that light, with all that love. Because that's how it works with me. Because that's how I experience it. So I know what's true because I experienced it. But I could say, listen, I don't want to experience that because I don't believe that's true anymore. Well, that's your free will right to do that. That's what free will is. So when you're operating on the powerful light that's spinning through your heart, which is what love is, and you realize how much out there is in that light, then you realize there's an enormous amount of love out there. Yeah, of course. That's what keeps it running. Thank you for the sun. That's a beautiful energy today, Mama. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all for being here. I love you all.